Hello, welcome back to another episode of Uso's in-depth playthrough of Demon Souls. So, as I was doing last episode, I cleared the tutorial area and now we are going to go through World 1. Because that's the only world that's available to us at the beginning of the game. Because every other Arcstone has been locked. And only by going through World 1 will all the other ones unlock. So if you read here, Boletarian Palace. A huge stone castle in the heart of the northern kingdom of Boletaria. Hungry soldiers whose souls have been stolen by demons attack trespassers in terrible dragon's nest here. So we get a good idea of what we're supposed to be getting into when the level starts. And there'll be a nice intro cutscene. So this is a really cool way to open the area. The very first real area your character starts in, and you're placed in front of this just massive castle. And when you immediately walk backwards, you'll come across some items over here. But you will notice immediately that there's another giant wall. So it's almost like you're standing over a moat. So the idea is that your character, Boletaria itself is a very secluded area that's been cut off from a lot of the area by its natural defenses. Like the castle's placed on like this giant, almost like a peninsula out in the center of the water, out of the center of a river or something like that. So it makes it very impregnable. Because it looks like when you get here, they're in the middle of protecting the place or defending it from invaders. No idea, really. Oh, hey, I was trying to backstab you. So, if you go here to the left, you'll see that this door is locked. You can't come through here until either pure white or pure black world tendency. I love it when the enemies just sort of jump around me. I didn't even move, and he went right around me. So there's a lot of items you can get on this bridge. It's really weird to think that this bridge... The bridge is just covered in fire. Like, there's burning pits everywhere. It's almost as if the bridge has just become this ground for the dragon to lay waste to. Okay. It's cool too that there are crows everywhere that just sort of like pepper the area with nasty. Because like they're just sitting right here gawking at us, and then you get here and they just fly away. It kind of reminds me of Eco, if that makes any sense. How Eco and the princess in that game would always traverse this big giant empty castle. And that's what it feels like when I look at this castle. It feels like it's supposed to have a lot of people in it, but it doesn't. It's actually got quite a few people. Just a few people sprinkled everywhere. So if you run right here and do a running R1, you can get a head off of that dude. It probably wasn't intentional, but I think the hitbox for this weapon is just bigger than it actually is. I hear her running. I don't know where it's from. So anyway, you can stand here and then just swing in the corner here and get rid of that ambush. I like this idea that you're running through cramped quarters and you don't know what's around every corner. Break these boxes here, get some bombs. And then, of course, this is like the first area that they introduce two of the sword dudes to you at the same time. So it kind of gives you the idea of... Oh. Well, I was going to say it gives you this idea to know how to fight two enemies at once. He also gave me the same shield as I'm wearing, I think. Yep, soldier's shield. For the lore on these weapons, it just tells you what the weapon's good for. The unique weapons in this game will have bits of lore added to them. Otherwise, regular weapons that you think any normal person would carry, will have just standard text on them that tell you how the weapon is useful to you. Like this weapon, for example, the broadsword. It has a bit of slash damage. It has a bit of bleed on it, which is kind of weird considering if you play Dark Souls, the broadsword doesn't bleed. And it's the only broadsword in the entire Soulsborne series that does this. Now, because I gave myself a +1 broadsword, I do usually enough damage to kill everything here pretty fast. So stand here and wait for the guy ahead of you, above you, to throw fireballs. Normally this area is a bit scary, but... Oh, another mill breaker. It's kind of weird. The basic idea is that you're slowly climbing up the ramparts inside of a wall, just outside the castle. So yeah, you can stand right here and see that you were just down there a moment ago. And you can see an item just right there. And we'll be getting that item in just a moment. Alright, so let's kill you. Ooh, free grass. Let's come down here and get this item. So, here is a cool little thing that you can do with this boulder. If you wait for the boulder, and you can roll into the boulder and just roll right over it. And you won't take any damage. It's kind of a cool little trick that I learned from watching speedruns. So you get this bastard sword. That's the only way to get to the bastard sword. You gotta wait for the guy to push the ammunition. And it's kind of cool too that a lot of the other later Souls games sort of use that idea of avoiding traps. So let's run up here. I guess I'll go kill these guys over here. I'm not gonna kill... There's a specific knight over here that I'm not gonna kill yet. I'm gonna come back to him later. But be aware that he's here. So, these guys are the bane of my existence. I don't like them. Because they can throw their shields up super fast to the point that you don't even see them put the shield up and stab you in the face with. So my idea is to hold my shield up, let them bounce off, and then do an R2. And it usually destroys them. So here's the first blue knight outside of the tutorial. And he's dead. Parrying is usually the easiest with these dudes. Ooh, throwing knives. So you'll notice up on the very, very top of the wall, there are bins full of rocks and trebuchets. So the idea here was they weren't using ammunition to throw. They weren't using like those giant balls that you just saw a moment ago to hit enemies. They were using rocks. They're just using tiny bits of rock that they're shooting at things. And it's interesting too because they're in these metal containers, and you're gonna see these metal containers in later areas outside of Boletaria. Just to let you know that Boletaria has connections to the outside world. Because Boletaria is like this segment, this segregated area away from the rest of the map of Like, the entire world is Boletaria, but the kingdom itself is the kingdom of Boletaria. It's kind of confusing, really. So yeah, you can just stand there and let those guys kill themselves. They usually get stuck there. And then sometimes... Oh, there he is. He slowly walks. But yeah, you can just let him kill himself. Now, you'll notice some chains here. So you can just break those, and you're going to see why I did that in a moment. So if I stand right here, you'll notice that this entire area down here is filled with torch Dreglings and explosive barrels. So I don't want to interact with them. I just want to sort of stand about here. And because they have bad pathfinding, they'll just jump off. And if I'm lucky, they blow themselves up. So it's pretty useful, to say the least. It prevents me from having to use materials to deal with them. So let's open this, because I want the ring that's right here. Cling ring. So, cling ring, a mysterious ring forged in the shape of an eye. Character loses less HP after becoming a soul. So when you wear this, you get extra 25% active health. If you, for example, are wearing this ring in pure white world tendency, you get more extra health. Because as the ring has an intrinsic effect on whether or not the world has white world or black world. So if you're wearing it in black world, you get no active health, for example. Towards black world, I mean, you get less active health, but when you're in pure black, you don't get any more health. So I'm wearing it now because I'm in soul form. There's no way to get out of soul form until you defeat the first boss. So anyway, as I said earlier, there is a thing. You'll notice that there's a break in the wall right here. You can just drop down. And now I actually have a crossbow I can use. So let me actually see if this crossbow is any use to me. Because I got free bolts. I got bolts. So let's just see how useful it is. Not very. It's not useful at all. It's very slow. You can't zoom in with it like you can bow. And I don't believe you can upgrade them. I think maybe you can upgrade one crossbow in the game, but I don't believe you can upgrade any of the other ones. I'll have to double check it when I get back to the Nexus. Anyway, we'll keep pressing on. So we're on the top of the wall now, and I just went all the way around to open a shortcut to the bottom. Alright, so let's open this. The fog wall is kind of an interesting idea, because it's an idea that carries over to the other Souls games. And that it's sort of like a mark of progress sometimes, to let you know that where you have and haven't been, I guess. So anyway, this is one of the mechanics in the game that does not tell you how to use it. You have to just sort of figure it out on your own until you get to you get to another area later in the game where you figure out that the only way you can do it is to do this. So if you push against this wall right here, you just walk right over it, drop down. And here's the Thief's Ring, and this is Ostrava. If you went the long way around, you would have eventually ended up at this courtyard, and Ostrava would have called down to you and told you he needed help. But for my intents and purposes, I'm going to make him help me.
What on earth are you doing?
So let's see if Ostrava can kill these dudes for me. You gotta save the damsel in distress, Ostrava. He's usually good enough. He usually never dies. He's just sort of turtling now for some reason. Don't die, Ostrava, please. Alright, let's help him out. He's done enough. Okay.
My thanks for your brave rescue. I am Ostrava of Boletaria. Accept this as a token of my gratitude.
It's fancy. He gave me a brass telescope. It'll be useful later when I point things out. So, yeah, you get ambushed here, but you can attack the dude through the door before he can do anything. Kill this dude. Anything? Okay. So, let's kill the blue-eyed knight here. Because sometimes this guy can drop a weapon, and he didn't drop it. Maybe next time. He can sometimes drop a claymore, and the claymore is really good. Otherwise, you have to buy it. So here's a scimitar. Scimitars are really good too. I prefer the keylage actually, but for the most part, curved weapons in this game are really good. So we come over here because we want to deal with the crossbowmen and get the soul. There's a powder magazine that's down here with about 6 or 7 enemies, and if you throw one of these really well, you can deal with most of them pretty easily. The idea was trying to kill as many of them as possible with the explosion. Okay, and you get some stones too, so you definitely want those. Some free grass. Let's talk to Ostrava since he's walking about.
Now I must go. There is something for me to take care of.
Anything else to say?
No matter how far I venture, only the soul-starved remain. Is there a single sane person left in Boletaria?
How about what else?
No matter how far... Is there...
Okay, so that's everything he has to say. So it's interesting, he only gives you the name Ostrava, and that he's using very weird armor and a very weird sword and shield. And he gives you, what is it? He gave me the brass telescope, so let's take a look at that. A rare craft which uses warped glass to allow the user to see far off distances clearly. It's most likely an item from the comparatively advanced region of southern Boletaria. So it lets you know that he's not exactly from around here, maybe? He wasn't here definitely when the area was taken over by demons. And we'll see that further into the game as we go. The kind of state Boletaria was in before it went to ruin. So one of the issues I've had with that is one of the most prevalent issues with this game is its physics. Also, I forgot to put my ring on. Give me a second. There we go. Thief's Ring is really good for this area. Because enemies forget about you really quickly when you're wearing it. Much to the detriment, I think, of combat. So anyway. If you, as I was saying earlier, if you went... You had 2 ways of going. You could have jumped over the wall and down to Ostrava's area to get the ring, or you could have just continued walking and not even bothered with him. And you would have eventually came across this area that's back over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go backwards. So the game has like a setup ambush for you, that when you hit this area right here, these guys are supposed to dump down, and you're supposed to see them when you're running this way. But they didn't really think anybody was going to go the other way, so... Oh, hey, what did you drop? Free grass. Nice. Alright, so you go back this way. Everybody is facing the wrong way. I'm gonna come back over here because there's a vendor. Also, I got a halberd. That's pretty nice. I think I might... See, can I use the halberd? I might use that. No, I don't think I can. No, I don't have enough dexterity. Yeah, I need more dexterity for the halberd. Alright. Oh well. That's a pretty good drop, though. Alright, so let's kill you. And then if you stand right here, there's a guy posed to the right that throws a bomb. How did that hit me? Come on. I don't know how the hitbox for that explosion hit me. It probably didn't hit him either. It's really funny to say the least. So anyway, you come back over here and you go to the right here. And through these barricades is the Dregling merchant.
Good day to you. Care to look over my wares? Mostly stolen, but who's telling ye? Be a brave knight or depraved slave, the demons will snatch your soul, then you'll go mad. And those who dare cling to their humanity are hunted down. It is the end of great Boletaria as we know it. But hell, at least the demons don't send us to our deaths in battle. There's this skinny fella, clad in fabulous armor, who's always mumbling about some mission. He's another one who's managed to stay sane like yourself. Probably some pampered son by the looks of his attire. I'd give an arm just for the buttons off his shirt. It is the end of great Boletar, but hell...
Okay, so let's see what do you sell. So he sells grass, firebomb, lotus. He sells basic weapons that you would get from the starter classes too. So long sword, short spear, light crossbow. I just found one of those. Wooden shield, soldier shield I have, and then the slave shield is the shield that the Dreglings drop, and then basic bolts. And he sells the entire soldier's armor, the plate set. So there's not really much to him.
Go ahead, take your time. I'm not going anywhere.
And he's already talked a bit about the NPC that we just met earlier, Ostrava. Just to let you know that he's probably pampered and probably a royalty based on his outfit. Alright, so back this way. A couple of items to get on the ramparts that are up there. What's interesting too is that these ramparts look like they're here for construction purposes. They don't look like they're here for defense purposes. It looks like they were in the middle of building the castle up when the demon scourge hit. So here's a blue-eyed knight again. Just parry him and stab him in the gut. Oh, I missed. I mean, he missed. Alright, kill him. Take the grass. Did he drop anything? Nah, he just dropped his body. Alright. So this area is really cool because you can look out over here and you can see where you entered all the way over there. It's pretty cool to see this level looping back on itself with the view. And then there are just some areas over there that you can't even get to, but they look like they're rendered in such a way that you wouldn't have been able to reach them anyway. Like, it's weird. There's no entry into any of that area over there. So it's like, how do they expect people to walk up there? It's really weird that the developers thought it was an idea to just place things up there and expect people to, like, I guess, jump over to them or parkour over to them. It's weird. Anyway, let's go through here. Now, this part here is kind of interesting. If you stand right here, you'll notice there's about, like, 8 dudes down there just waiting for you. But you'll notice that there's a lot of sort of like artillery sitting here, which is weird too, because there's not really anything in this area that can use this artillery properly. So if you just swing right here, you'll let all the artillery go, and it'll just kill everybody down that way for you. On higher NGs, these won't necessarily kill them, but it's cool, I think, to do this. It's like one of those, it's one of the things I think Demon's Souls does well. You can use the environment to your advantage if you know what you're doing. So if you continue down this way, there are 2 spear dudes positioned right there. But if I only want one of them, I can just strike the wall right here. Or, let me see, it's a little further ahead. Right here. There we go. I got only one of them. Because I don't want to deal with 2 of them. I only want to deal with one of them. So let's have him walk up to me. There we go. I don't like the fact that he doesn't bounce off my shields with some of his attacks. Like if he does the short, that one, that's the one I can abuse. But if he does the long pierce, it's supposed to pierce shields, so it doesn't bounce. So if you stand right here, immediately a red drake will come up. The red drake that was shown at the beginning of the level will come over here, and he will start to guillotine axe. Nice drop. That's a pretty good drop. Yeah, you stand here, the drake will blow the area with fire. But if you run all the way down here, you'll notice that there's an area over here that's completely filled with items. That normally, that red drake is perched right there. So you'll see him come back slowly and land right there. What I'm going to show you is an interesting way to get all these items in such a way that you don't have to wait to get to the later levels to receive them. Because a lot of the items that are over there are actually really useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to lure the red dragon back over here. This can be considered a glitch, but it's still dangerous in the sense that if you're not fast enough, the red drake will come back over there and destroy you, or the blue drake will smash you into the wall. So, I still do it. If you have a problem with doing it, then it's fine. It's not the end of the world. The game allows you to play certain ways. This is just a way that I figured out how to do it without having to worry about things. So, wait for him to start blowing fire and then start running. You need to be at the top landing, otherwise he won't see you and he'll just go back over here immediately. But just keep running, make sure you don't expend all your stamina. And you'll hear him blow fire again, which means that you know you did it right. And you can get all the way over here and get all these items. So there's the Great Flame Shield, a soul, another soul. This should be a ring. And then if you stand right here at the edge, and he'll swing and you miss completely. So you can just get that ring right there, drop down, and then come back over here and get these items. A shard of Arkstone, and then some moongrass. So let's just get out of here first. I don't know if his fire can go through the cliff, but it can't hit you. So I guess it's just supposed to scare you. So let's stand over here and admire the loot that we just got. So we just got a purple flame shield. The origin of this characteristic design is unknown. The equipment holds many mysteries. An old, large shield painted in vivid purple. It's quite heavy and very effective against flame attacks. And then the ring. A soft ring bearing a deep red seal. Increases defense against fire. Made by Gary, a friend of Sid Trigg. The seal's design is a flame. And then a ring given to King Allant. King Allant's twin fangs, raises maximum equip burden. With this great ring, the twin fang Bjor wielded a massive steel shield, a large crossbow, and a huge sword with ease. So the twin fangs that were mentioned at the beginning of the game, Valorfax and Bjor, they both wear a ring like this. It's a similar ring in Dark Souls to the Havel's ring. It's similar to that ring. So it's very useful for dudes who want to wear a lot of armor and don't have much rings to put on. Because for my build, I'm mostly going to be a melee character with a couple of spell buffs for the sword. I'm not probably going to use the broadsword for the rest of the game, but I'm probably going to use a sword. So I want to get through here as fast as possible, because that Drake takes about 15 seconds to get over here. Alright, so yeah, see, they lose interest in me because I'm wearing the Thief's Ring really quickly. If I'm not wearing the Thief's Ring, they would already be on me, and they can follow you all the way to the end of this hallway. So it's pretty impressive what they put into this. So this is a cutscene that introduces the boss. It's a bit different from the other cutscenes in how you usually get introduced to the boss the moment you walk up to him. But then you see that. He just chunks its spear at you. And as you go through here, you'll see a further iteration of the boss's introduction. Because they wanted to extend it. They extended the boss's introduction for some reason. Or I like the idea that they slowly reveal tidbits of the boss to you as you progress through the final areas of this map. So I got Turpentine. It's also going to be incredibly useful against the boss. I cannot stress how useful this stuff is. Just a couple of spear dudes to deal with here. You can parry them, but I feel the setup for their parry is just too inconsistent for me to want to deal with it. So I usually use my shield just to mitigate damage. So if I stand about here, 2 flame dudes, and then that's an introduction. There's an introduction to an enemy right there. So I can just let them jump off and kill themselves. Oh, they didn't die. Oh, one of them did. So yeah, as you see here, you got a big pile of muck that has a spear and a shield. The spear's like a part of its body, and the shield is literally its face. So you just get behind it, stab it in the back. Sometimes they drop materials. They're called hoplites, similar to the Spartan defense maneuver that where single units make up an entire whole. And you'll see that in the boss when we get to the boss. So, a lot of souls. A couple of more hoplites to deal with. I hope they drop some materials for me, because the materials will make this a lot easier. Guess not. So, stab in the back. One more? Anything? Nope. Okay. Alright, so that is everything up to the boss. So as you saw here, the boss threw this giant spear. And this is essentially a scraping spear. It's a weapon that you can actually make later in the game with a boss soul. So, let's make sure everything is equipped properly. I want fire bombs for this, because the fire bombs make this part a lot easier. You can't really see anything when you're standing in front of the fog, but when you step in, boss loads. And as you see, it's a big giant muck with a bunch of shield dudes. But if you throw fire bombs, you just melt through them like butter. So let's save some of those. Buff the weapon. So two-hand your weapon, and you don't have to worry about bouncing off their shield. Because if you one-hand your weapon... Oh, that didn't... Weird, I'm still not bouncing off. You bounce off their shield usually. Yeah, there it is. See, you want to two-hand your weapon for this, because that way you just cut right through the shield. And there you go. You kill the boss, all of them die with him. Okay. Easy enough. Shard of Sharpstone. 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 Hardstone. Not bad. So this area is kind of really, really graphic heavy. Like for some reason, like the FPS drops here like crazy, and I have no idea why. Because if I wanted to, I could continue on to the next area. But for now, I think I'm just going to go back to Nexus. So that was the Phalanx. And as you get further into the game, you'll start to understand just exactly what that boss was and all the other bosses that are associated with Boletarian level itself.
Welcome back. The Monumental awaits the above. The Monumental will explain the Nexus to thee.
Alright, let's go talk to the Monumental, and then I think this will be the end of the video. I really like the music in this area at the beginning of the game, because when you get to a certain spot in the game, the music will change. It'll be more eerie and like Phantom of the Opera like. So if you continue going up this way, if you're playing online, you'll come across you'll enter an area called the Pantheon. But I'm not playing online, so the area is locked. Like it's just a door right here that you can't access. It's a really cheap looking door, but it's a door. So just let's go back down here, talk to the Monumental. Oh, ooh, side roll. That's something I'll have to talk about in my next video also, the side roll.
We have long awaited you, Slayer of Demons. I am one of the Monumentals. We preserve the fabric of reality. There is something thou needest to know. Once, we too, a scourge of demons faced. In the distant past, under a benevolent rule, the world was united owing to the soul arts. Until a lust for power caused the awakening of the Old One. Across the land seeped a colorless, deep fog, and the world faced extinction at the hands of the demons. Thanks be, we were able to lull the Old One back to his slumber, yet only after the loss of innumerable souls, and half the world lost, erased by the fog. In order to mend the fabric of what land still remained, we entrusted 6 elders with 6 precious archstones. 1 to the king of a small yet diligent land. 1 to the king of the burrowers underground. 1 to the wise queen of the great ivory tower. 1 to the chieftain of lost and ill-fortuned souls. 1 to the shaman of the tempest-worshipping shadowmen. And the last to the great giants of the northern lands. The archstones were placed at nodes across the earth. We contained the Old One inside this Nexus and banned the soul arts. Finally, we became Monumentals, half-living sentinels of the fabric of reality. Alas, the other Monumentals have perished, and only I remain. Now it is your turn. You must lull the Old One back to its slumber, and seal it away for all eternity. If not, the deep fog will absorb all that we know. Have you the strength to accept this mission? Yes, we are fortunate indeed to have you. Now, go forth and destroy every last demon. The Old One, without demons to feed its souls, will a new servant seek and lure you to its bosom.
So I like how the Monumental just sort of gives you a lot of backstory into what the Old One is and how he relates to the rest of the world. And how he charges you with the mission of destroying all the demons. And he builds it up in such a way that it feels like you chose the task freely of your own will. Like you are here on your own volition. When in actuality, the game questions the very idea of volition. Because at the beginning of the game, you were going through. You went through the world, you got killed at the very end, and then you were imprisoned against your will in the Nexus. And you cannot die until you do whatever it is the Nexus wants you to do. And you have no way of knowing if what they are asking you to do is something you have any say in the matter about. If that, it's kind of weird. So anyway, I think this will be where the episode is. The episode ends, because I feel like it's quite long now. It's about 40-something minutes. So anyway, until next time, I'll continue from the Nexus, and we'll talk to the new NPCs that are here, and get a little bit extra dialogue and lore available here. So until next time, thanks for watching.